person. Basically, I wanted to enter into the police force, specifically the CID department. That was my desire. But one time, somewhere, somehow, in Form 6, I felt a slightly horrifying situation whereby I got my call. And from then, I started the ministry. Went to college in 1990, completed the college. In 1992, posted to Kericho. Luckily for us, we met in college. And started something that grew up to marriage later in life. So when I was posted to Kericho, she was posted to Nyeri, and we did not meet for some time. But let us, it goes. We met and become one in 1995. And we have been like that since.
I got saved when I was very young because I was in class 7. And from then, the elders who were in our church started to mentor me. I used to preach in the service. I used to teach Sunday school and even to be involved in all activities of the church. So in me, there was a call in me. And my prayer was, I want to serve God. But when I entered Form 1 and even Form 4, I thought I would do serving God as a nurse. I wanted so much to be a nurse. But immediately I did my KCE. There was this interview of sisterhood ministry. And I felt I want to be one of them because I've been praying that God may open a way for me to serve Him. So I did an interview. And in 1989, I was admitted in a college that was in, tulikuwa tunaita Inoro, yeah. Tukaenda pale. So we started off in 1989. From then, 1989, we started the Theology Now diploma class in 1990. And that is where he came and joined us. And yeah.
Let's get to the juicy part now, where you met. Tell us about this story.
Juicy part of our meeting was once in a committee in the college, where she was the secretary and I was the chair. Okay. Was it entertainment committee?
Yeah, entertainment.
We found ourselves in a committee that we used to share together. And as the chair, and she was the secretary, we used to meet severally. And I think that's where we started sparkling up. We didn't take long because of what we may call the social distance. She was a closed person, although she is no longer that way. A person who wants to be a good introvert. She did not want much, so we didn't have time to talk much. Then we left the college and the rest came up. Mm.
When did it come up? Because you mentioned you left college, you were in Kericho, and you were posted somewhere else. Then how did you come to meet again?
Simply because there was that spark of love within us. We used to meet somewhere in Nyahururu.
Okay.
Nyahururu was more central. We used to meet in a hotel in Nyahururu several times before as we organized what to be done in the year 1994, 1995. And then after that, we settled up for a wedding in 1995. And when we were wedding, I was in a place called Oloitoktok. Okay. Oloitoktok is at the border of Kenya and Tanzania. Though we did not take long there, she used to come over, and she was still in Nyeri, and we took several months in Oloitoktok before I was transferred again to Murang'a County, a place up here called Kangema. Then when I was in Kangema, she was in Nyeri. That was slightly nearer, and by God's grace, I was posted to Nyeri, just the next parish. She was in a place called Wadobi, and I was in a place called Vigingi. And this was just across over the ferry. And we stayed there for several years. We got our first daughter in 1998. And we stayed for some time together in Nyeri. It took at least 5 years. And then I went back to college. When I went back to college after St. Paul's, I was posted to Murang'a town again. And when I was in Murang'a, she decided to become a minister. And she was posted to Loiro as a theological student.
By the time she's deciding to become a minister, you already
I was already a minister for several years. I was ordained in 1994, specifically licensed in January 1994, and ordained in the same year, July.
Okay, this is even before your marriage.
Before you were married, long before you were married, yeah.
We'll come back to when she decided to go into ministry as well. But allow me to ask you, here is someone you've decided to settle down with, a reverend. By that time, what was going through your mind? Is it something you had devoted to? Were you foreseeing the challenges that will come? Yeah.
I was defiant because he said that I was a bit of introvert because I was crossed. Mine was just to serve God. And I remember when he approached me, I told him I want to stay for 5 years. And then I thought 5 years would not, end. But it came to an end. When we were meeting, we discussed about the family. It was like, to start with, I was not ready to get married. But by and by, I think he prayed so much. Because I one time even told him, you can go. Now we are far from one another. There are many girls, so you can go and look for one and leave me alone. I was that kind of a person. But I think it was the will of God for us to get married. Even at time, there was a challenge one time when we were to meet because we used to write letters. So during this time, the first meeting, in fact, it was the first meeting. We were to meet in Nyahururu. I was not familiar in Nyahururu. So the hotel he suggested, I went there, he was not there. We didn't have phones. So I had to go back, he had to go back without meeting. And then he wrote a letter and asked me, what happened? Why didn't you come? But yet I was there, but because of lack of communication, we could not meet. But by and by, we continued, prayed about this, and the Lord opened the way. And in 1995, we got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are the first years of marriage? Here you are, you're a minister already, you have a kid, you're posted somewhere else.
The first several years we were very tough.
Yeah.
Because of distance. You understand, at first I was in Loitoktok and she was in Nyeri.
Yeah.
Then when I was posted to Murang'a, she was in Loiro, but once ordained, she was posted to Kitui. Instead of being... But we had agreed that, God willing, we would like our kids to remain in a central place. So she went to Kitui alone and left the girls with me. And I remember one day she complained that the girls are becoming more familiar with the father than with the mother. But there came this time that the second born, was still in this room, once asked her, Mami, umeenda kazi eh? Utarudi lini? Simple. Because they were comfortable. The times were not very good because of the distance, but the Lord helped us to be there and to enjoy his bounty. Yeah. We can't complain because the Lord has taken us from one glory to another. I remember one time we had a big problem because of workload. And I remember giving her my diary and telling her to write Mondays, write the word home. Close all the Mondays and write home. And from then, Mondays have been free at home.
Yeah.
We can't complain that we have been far, but the Lord has taken care of us.
How were those moments when you had to leave your kids behind?
I think it was the toughest time in my life because when I was left in Nyeri, we had a young girl, the last born. She was only 2 years. Why did she come to Muranga with the others? Because one, to some time she had an allergy for cold, and Nyeri was very cold. So we decided when we go to Muranga, and the doctor had even suggested that when we go to a warmer place, she'll get well. So when we came here, the girl stayed for a month without medicine. So that is the reason why we started, first of all, the children to come. Though I was feeling as a mother, as a young mother, because the older one was, I think, 6 years, the second one was 4 years, now the third one is 2 years. I had to let them go because I knew the dad was responsible. I had no problem with him because I know he's responsible. So, but I was stressed because as a mother, now leaving your children, you're not there, you don't know what is going on. They are with the maid. You don't know when the dad is not in, what happens to them. But I continue to get courage when I come. I usually came every weekend. And I met them, they are jolly, they are happy, and then I continued, to get used to. But now when I was ordained in Kaboi Presbytery, Ruido Parish, this was the hardest time in my life when I was posted to Kitui. Because now, these children are very young. The duration for 1 year, I didn't mind because I thought that maybe after ordination, I'll be sent nearer to them. But now, I've been sent far, far from them. But what I prayed is that God give me the grace because I know you have a plan for us. He continued to stay with them, and during the holiday they usually came, I stayed there for 1.5 years. And I thank God because the work that God called me to do, I did it thoroughly because He used me. Even to date, they usually call me because they don't forget 2007 and 2008. We were with them. They don't forget the work that we did. So we thank God for all this.
I'm joined by the children of the Gichimus. Of course, we've heard from their parents, and we'll start with you, Purity. How has the experience been having your parents as clergy, both of them, ni reverends? Has it been tough? How's it been, your childhood?
For me, I'd say it's the same as every other kid. Because at the end of the day, my parents are still my parents. They're not, they are, but in the house or when you're together, they're just my parents. They are mom and dad. They are friends sometimes. Opinions, sometimes they are people to lean on. So I have had, I won't say it's been a tough journey because I've had people who know how to separate work from, have had a smooth transition between the two. Yes.
Remind me your name. Carol, great. Tell us about discipline. How have you been disciplined before?
As in, they have always been there. I don't know how to say it, but if it was disciplining us, my mom would sit us down, talk to us, and she wouldn't like, you know how you expect a pastor to be like at home, at preaching? No, she was just her. Like she just sat us down, talked to us, told us our faults, and also allowed us to grow as people.
Mimi nime grow in my parents' house back in Nakuru. Nikikuja hapa nilikuwa najua nakuja kwa wachungaji, lakini kile nilikuta sio ile nilikuwa nafikiria. Sababu yes, tunaongea na wachungaji wengi nini, na unajua ukienda kwa mchungaji, first of all is guidance, counseling, Bible, whatever. But I love that. But nipokuja hapa, I feel more comfortable. There is time of everything. Let's say like that. There is time of everything. Na nikaona there is time for church and there is time of home. So nikiwa hapa nyumbani, niko nyumbani kama vile tu ningekaa kwa wazazi wangu. Na ninaona it is a funny. Unaona nilipokuja hapa niliulizwa tu maswali kidogo kidogo. Sababu I come and join church here. Sababu na singeweza kurudi pale nimetoka distance long. So I find Reverend Derito here. So I have my Reverend Derito. But when I come home, I have my father and my mother. Na waitaga mom na dad. Na naona nikienda pale youth wananiuliza umetoka wapi? Na nimetoka Subuki. Unakaa wapi? Unaitwa kama Reverend mwingine alikuwa huko. Nawaambia is my father. So ungesikia bako youth wakiniuliza, we sasa ukiwa kwa wachungaji kuna kaa aje? I remember one day nimeshikilia kiti ya chair. I have a secretary aliniuliza swali baka nikashindwa nitajibu aje. Ati sasa mnashindaga every times mmeshika Bible hapa mnikuomba na nini? Nikamwambia I do kama vile unafanya ukiwa nyumbani, kama ni kuwatch TV kile unataka kuwatch una watch. You have freedom. So nikaona it's a good home. Kutoka nikuja hapa I have like now is 2 years inaenda kuisha, but nasikia niko nyumbani. Yeah.
When we had your parents earlier on, walisema there's a time kuvaa trouser ilikuwa why you in a trouser, you know. So tell us about are there some strict rules zenye zime come up where you can say it's because mom and dad are ministers?
I think it's because they have like a higher expectation of us. Like being a pastor's kid, there's a level you cannot cross. Like huwezi enda nje ukiwa umevaa a certain way. Like it's disrespectful to you. As a pastor's kid, you're raised as a representative of the others. Like as you're an embodiment of what the church must be. So like it was drilled in us kutoka tukwe kitambo that you must be wearing what you're comfortable with, but at the same time should not be offensive to another person.
There's this expectation in your society konayo, as she said, you know, pastors' kids are viewed as either you're successful or you're a failure according to how you behave, how you're portrayed. This pressure applied to the children of ministers by the society. Imekufikia, how's that affected you? If it does in any way, how do you deal with that?
Imenifikia. How can it not? Kwanza, when you have 2 pastors in the house, of course. But now the fact still remains, they are humans, they are my parents, first of all. Like the mandate of when a man and a woman get together, their first mandate is to bring up a family. And this family now, with other families, now they bring up the church, you get. So their first mandate was us. So me I can't say that saa tukishafika huko hivyo nje wakianza kuniletea pressure enyewe mimi nikiwa nyumbani sieke yangu, so mbona mnaniekea, you get like, plus venye pia nimegrowiwa up, kuna venye tu like I've been taught to be able to manage myself. Venye tu amesema kaa ni kuvaa unavaa vizuri na venye wewe unapenda, as long as hakuna mtu mwingine ataanza saa kukua ish kuihusu, na kako ish na unasikia vizuri, sio ni shida yake. Yes. Plus now the other things like how spiritual are you? That is between you and God. Honestly. If it is reading the Bible, praying, that is between you and God, plus your own discipline. So me can say if it is your pressure ya kanisa, then mi nimekuwa na wazazi wazuri. Yes.
Yes. I think umesema when you were headed here, there's an expectation you had. Expected vitu zitakuwa the house ni ama pasi. You know, strict and all that, kazi ni kuomba na kusoma Bible, but you came and found things different. It's what we call a normal family. According from when you umekaa hapa umejionea, unaweza ambia watu waje uko nje about homes that have ministers or homes that are led by ministers.
Naweza sema that waache kubeba watu. Unajua pako kitu vile umeniona kwa kazi, nikienda nyumbani unafikiria mahali pote niko the same. No, but ni mchungaji akiwa kwa kanisa na akiwa anahudumia watu, sababu hiyo ni mafuta amemwagiliwa ahudumia watu. Is a servant of God. But to me, I can say is a servant to God. Saa ile unaenda na wewe na matatizo yako unataka kusaidiwa, ama nyumbani ama kwa familia, sababu sio hapa tu. My father ameishi kukuja back home, na saa ile anakuja home unasikia kama siku ile alikuwa anatoka Burn Forest, alikuwa anapita sana na sikuwahi muona na kala. But nilikuwa najiuliza kwa nini havagi kala? Na naona wachungaji wanaenda na kala. Kwanza ukiangalia PC, I think ndio sana unaweza kuta pastor ako nyumbani bila kala, lakini some churches unakuta hata ako home na ako na kala. So mimi nilikuwa najiuliza hiyo maswali, but kwangu nikaona wewe mwito iko ndani yako, sio the kala na sio the vile watu wanakuona. Sababu hata watu wanaweza kuona ukiwa mzuri lakini wewe si mzuri. Lakini kwake na kwa Guka, sababu Guka tulikuwa karibu, mimi hata Guka niende kwake sikuwahi sikia akiniambia mambo ya church. Labda nikuje niko na solution nataka kumuuliza Guka, kwa church nimesikia hivi na hivi, kunaenda hivi na hivi, kunaenda aje? Hapo ataniambia. Lakini tukienda hapo anaanza kuniambia kule alikuwa amelelewa sijui nini. But what I can tell people, the homes of the pastors, it's like the home of every man, of every woman. Haina change. Yote iko the same. Yeah. Bora yeye ni mwanaume na huyu ni mwanamke, ni hivyo. Hiyo imeisha. Yeah.
Okay. Purity, what would you say are some of the values you've gained just because your parents are ministers? So if they were in any other profession, you wouldn't have these values, but you have them because they're ministers.
First of all is loving God sincerely. I think hadi venye mmesikia kina mama wakiongea, it has been God all through. And that is something that I've seen personally, living with them, staying with them, that I've seen around the people. So that is number one. Sijui uko hivyo nje kama watu wanakuanga na hiyo pia. Yeah, that is number one. Number two, I'd say discipline for yourself and for everything that happens with you. Number three, I'd say responsibility. I have Hey, dad is a, venye tu umesikia mama akisema dad is a responsible person. He has made sure we have grown up to be responsible. Like you can stand up for yourself and you can do things for yourself, not necessarily needing anyone else to come and help you through it. But of course there's God, so there's that. Hizo ndo naweza sema.
Hello. Speaking for the family now, for the children, what would you say about your parents? What kind of people are they?
They're just people, I guess. But I wouldn't know that much because I am the last born, sindio? So half of the time I've been shielded from, I can't siwezi ongea venye my big sister can talk about them because half of the time, like when they are away, my sisters take care of me. So I'm not exactly the right person to say this because most of the time, especially when my mom and my dad are not around, my big sister is always there. So my parents have instilled in us family. The thought of family, the what is it called? Unity in family. So my sisters and I are tight. So if I have a problem, I will it, we will go to my other one. So that is one of the best things I think my parents have done for me as a person, giving me somebody else who I know will always be there.
I think as we wrap this up, I'd like to hear from you, Shanzana Peterson. You'd say something to Mr. and Mrs. Gichimu. Yeah. Just you staying with them, how you say the interaction has been helpful to you, and of course you as well. You'd say something to your mom and dad. Tanzania.
Wacha niseme nimekuwa na wakati mzuri, sijaona shida. Sababu saa ile sina kitu, huwa naenda anawaambia sina hii na sina hii, na kazi imekuwa ngumu kidogo, so wananisaidia. Na even they talk to me. Like dad saa zingine akiona, hi, akiniangalia hivi unasikia ameniambia kesho tunaenda. Mimi nikifikiria tunaenda nini, tunaenda tu. Ananiuliza nini mbaya? Nini kunaendelea? Kuko na shida? Namwambia hakuna. Na ninaona it is a family. Hata wacha uchungaji, ni familia iko na upendo sana. Na ni familia inayoshikilia, yani everybody pale pote ametoka. Sababu kutoka nikuja hapa, nimeona watu wengi wanakuja hapa, tunakaa nao, tunajuana, hata wengine siwajui. Lakini unasikia they are my kids. There is a time, hata wacha wazazi, baka wa the girls. There is time tulikuwa tumewachwa na Nyagodhie. Na nikakuwa niko na homa. Nikakuja. I have a whole week nikiwa mgonjwa. But I remember one day nikitoka hivi, nikamwambia wacha nifike kwa chemist nikuje. Akaniuliza nini, haujasikia vizuri? Nikamwambia hapana. Sasa aliona huyu mtu ajenda Monday kazi, Tuesday, Wednesday, na ameenda duka ai. Uko na pesa? Mpaka nikashindwa, nikamwambia niko sawa. Uko sawa? Nikamwambia niko sawa. So inaonekana ni watu Mungu aliochagua wote kwa familia. Wakakuwa wapenda watu. Hawataki kujua wewe umetoka kwa hiyo familia ama hujatoka. Wanakupenda vile ulipo. Ndio.
A message to my parents. Thank you for keeping up with me. Sometimes children are a handful. Me, I can say I was a handful. For keeping up with me, and I love you. Yeah.
I love you, of course. I have learned a lot from you. I am grateful for you. I thank God very much for you guys. And I pray that as much as people out here are blessing you, me as one of your children, I bless you too for being the people that you've been in my life. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
To public demand, kuna hii swali, any one of you would like to be a mchungaji? Oh, great. Okay.
Pastor.
Ukweli? All right. Sawa, thank you so much for that. And thank you to you as well, dear viewer, for keeping right here with us from the beginning. I hope you've learned a lot. And for interactions, even on our social media pages, we do appreciate it. I think for me, one thing that is key is that ministers, reverend pastors are human as well. They have struggles and challenges they experience. So as much as you see that man of God, a woman of God, they're human as well. So give them the grace that they need in anything that you feel that, they have failed or they need to be better. And this week I'd like you to appreciate your clergy, because here at Fact TV we're celebrating them. So as you go to church on Sunday, do something for them. With that said, thank you so much. My name is Faith Kalbu. Till next time, goodbye.